Listen, when you're playing, you got to play disciplined football, number one. You're playing a well-coached team. They're a disciplined football team. We have to be prepared for them, too, as they've had a couple of weeks now to really maybe come up with some wrinkles of their own, right? And that's Coach Reed. And he'll have some wrinkles up his sleeve, I know. But for us, it's just a matter of just staying disciplined and trusting what we're doing and just understand your role within your game plan, right? And just execute each play one at a time. Offensively, we just can't give it away like we've been doing in order to win these games, especially now where we're at.
Generating pressure has been one of the keys to Jacksonville's 6-game winning streak. They have the 6th highest pressure percentage in the league during that span. However, the Chiefs lead the league in pass block win rates, and Mahomes has led the league in numerous categories when kept clean this season. When we look at this matchup, I know 27-0, Chargers blow the lead, Jags come back. Marcus, most impressively, Jags only gave up 3 second-half points to this Chargers offense. Question now, how do they slow down Mahomes and the Chiefs offense?
Matt, you pointed it out in the graphic, pressure. You got to get Patrick Mahomes uncomfortable. You got to get him to start trying to play backyard football, and still, he's one of the best at doing that. But if he's able to operate like we've seen over the last 12 weeks of the season, then you pretty much have no answers. The thing that the Jacksonville Jaguars have working for them, and I know how good this offensive line for Kansas City has been, up front they have some guys in Josh Allen and obviously Arden Key that can really wreck games from a pass rush standpoint. And we know that Kansas City has multiple weapons that they can go through. This offense is expanded without Tyreek Hill, using more guys, but these are line of scrimmage games. And I know a lot of people, we like to talk about the skill position players. We like to talk about the things that you can do on the outside and the running backs. When you have tremendous quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes in this game, when you have guys that go above the X's and O's, it's about your guys up front and what they can do to affect him to help the rest of the defense try to have some success. And that's what Jacksonville has to hang their hat on. And then obviously on the opposite side, they have to possess the football. Mm-hmm. Like if you are going to give Patrick Mahomes opportunity after opportunity based on what they did against the Chargers with turning the football over, that score probably will be higher than 27-0 going into halftime. And more than likely, you won't hold them to 3 points in the second half. So this will be a defensive line game for the Jacksonville Jaguars. If they can create pressure without having to add blitzes, that's your best chance to win against Patrick Mahomes and what he does offensively.
Chiefs 8.5-point favorites according to Caesars. I'll remind you of this. Remember that team last year that no one really thought would do anything in the playoffs, works their way through and represented the AFC. There you go. There's something about belief and confidence. Marcus Spears, he always brings belief and confidence here on SportsCenter. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Man, we ain't selling short, no to work.
What a comeback this has been. Jags are going to try and win this thing. 36-yarder to win the game. Good! They have come back from 27-0 to win the game.
And now we have breaking news from the NFL this morning. Chargers head coach Brandon Staley, he is still the head coach of the Chargers, but LA has fired offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi and quarterbacks coach Shane Day. This comes 2 days after giving up that 27-point lead over the Jaguars. Despite a remarkable season by Justin Herbert, who passed Andrew Luck this year for the most passing yards by a quarterback through his first 3 seasons, the Chargers once again not living up to expectations, and they're making some changes. Look at the numbers on offense. They average just over 40 passing attempts per game over the last 2 seasons. That's second most in the league. On the ground, they're running at just 24 times per game. Only the Texans, Jets, and Buccaneers average fewer attempts. They're just under 99 yards rushing per game, ranks 27th in the league. As we bring Marcus Spears back in, and Marcus, again, it's not too much of a surprise that there are some changes happening after what happened in particular on Sunday. They're making these moves. Brandon Staley right now, safe. What's your reaction?
Well, I saw this coming from a mile away, Sage, and Joe Lombardi has been very predictable. His offense has no nuance to it. And I know it's a day where the coach is out, and we sensitive to that. Don't like seeing anybody's job get lost, but this is a result-based business. And I screamed for 2 years on NFL Live with my colleagues, Mina Kimes and Dan Orlovsky, about why doesn't Justin Herbert move more? Why don't you have more nuance to this offense? More things to give defenses to think about. It was just very simple by the way that they went about it and leaned on his talent so much. And he kind of masked that a little bit, but it gets to a point where you realize, especially in the game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, that we can't muster more than 3 points in the second half of a football game with one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL when we've had a tremendous amount of success with him and with the weapons that were available. The other thing is this, okay? We're in a league now where teams that have nuance, where teams that have things that are difficult to guard are not only the teams that we continue to talk about, they're the teams with quarterbacks that go above the X's and O's. Justin Herbert is a guy that goes above the X's and O's, but he had an offense that doesn't allow him to just play football at times. We see Patrick Mahomes and the creativity with Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy. We see the San Francisco 49ers plug and play quarterbacks because of a tremendous play calling ability. We see Doug Peterson and what he did with Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville, and obviously what Jalen Hurts and Sirianni and them has done in Philadelphia. And we sit here today, and Joe Lombardi is with a simple offense, and it was time to move on and try to exploit all of the things that you can take advantage of with Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many expectations on this team coming into the season. I know how much you liked them, and they just didn't live up to it. And when that happens, there's going to be changes. So the OC and the quarterback's coach are out in L.A. Marcus, more now. How about those Jaguars?
Yeah, while they're out, Jags are still in. They get the Chiefs, keeping it AFC. What a story it's been to this point. Saturday, 4:30 Eastern, new on SportsCenter. Doug Peterson on making this thing continue to area playoff football, ninth playoff matchup between the franchises. Dallas won 5 of the last 8 in the series. 49ers won the last meeting 23-17. Now this season, the 49ers will be doing it with Brock Purdy making a second playoff start. He's thrown just 4 interceptions on the season, but he's going up against the number 1 defense in terms of takeaways. Can he get it done? And a remarkable story with Purdy at that. And Dak snapped his interception streak and instead tossed 4 touchdowns, ran for another during the wild card game. But this time around, he plays against the number 1 defense in the NFL. So the question is, can Dak keep it up against the NFL's best?
Knowing the team that they have, the offense that they have, they're on fire. I don't know, win streak, I guess, with the longest in the league right now. It'd be important for us to start fast, get on top of them. I know the pass rushers they've got. I'm confident in the guys that I've got, this group that we have, and what we're capable of doing. So it's going to be important for us to have a great week of preparation and just get ready for it. We can start off the game like we did in that third drive. If we do that, it's even more pressure we're going to put on the other team that we're facing, and that's what we're going to have to do next week. Obviously, knowing the team that we've got in the 49ers, it's going to be important for us to start fast.
There is history, there is brand power in this matchup. Like I said, it just feels right that these two are in the playoffs. Marcus, give me the first thing that jumps out at you with this matchup.
Protection, Matt B. They got to protect the quarterback. Dallas does. In order for them to have any shot. We know how well this team has played down the stretch in the San Francisco 49ers, but it's been on the heels of their defense. And when you look at how this team is currently constructed, I'm talking about the 49ers with Kyle Shanahan, his ability to call plays. Brock Purdy gives them an athletic element to this offense that was non-existent, so it makes them tougher to defend. You see the pieces that they added in the Christian McCaffreys. Obviously, we know the work that Deebo Samuel does, but George Kittle has reemerged as a big part of this offense from a statistic standpoint, which he has always been when he's available. Elijah Mitchell is a two-headed monster on the back end. The greatness of what we see Brock Purdy doing with spreading this football around as well. To me, that's been the most impressive thing about what he's had the ability to do. He's gotten everybody in this offense involved. And I think when we start speaking about, like, I'm not with the he's special and this is the guy. I'm not with that. All right, we in 7 games. All right, he's played great up until this point and has done what they needed to do. It's a great situation for a quarterback to play in. 2 years ago, when the Green Bay Packers went up to San Francisco, we saw 8 passes from Jimmy Garoppolo, and they beat Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. So we know how this team is constructed. Great defense, great run game. So those are the things that Dallas is going to have to focus on. What I mentioned off the top, they got to protect Dak Prescott. Nick Bosa has 18.5 sacks. Might I remind everybody. And then the other part of that is you have to defend the run against the San Francisco 49ers, which Dallas wasn't tested against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Right.
So we'll see. This is the best team right now in the NFC. That's the San Francisco 49ers. But Dak and Kellen Moore, as I reiterate, at a high level, can compete against any team in the NFC. It's just been inconsistent. So will you get that type of consistency that we saw against Tampa against a much harder opponent?
But will you get that A-plus effort out of Dan Quinn in that defense and Micah Parsons, who, by the way, when he's on top, you could argue he's one of the best players, top 5 players in the NFL. So
100%.
Purdy is going to have to contend with that. By the way, 49ers 4-point favorites, that according to Caesars. Marcus Spears is going to be with us throughout.